I ain't gotta prove nothing to nobody else. That's why I don't never get too hyped about the win after I win, because it's like you always gotta do something over and over again till you done. And it's always gonna be somebody next, somebody next, somebody next. So I feel as though I don't have to prove myself to these people.
Let's go! Come on! Come on, man!
You know what I'm saying? So we are striving to be the best that we can be to be on that level again, you know? So, you know, you saying you want to do what you want to do, that's good, because that's what you want to do.
That's the God in you that's trying
that's good.
to seek it,
and,
you know?
And you giving back and giving thanks.
Gervonta Tank Davis is turning his training camp into a war zone. Every punch, every drill, every moment is designed to remind fans why his power is no accident. His knockout strength comes from brutal repetition and elite focus, not luck. Meanwhile, Jake Paul is treating this fight like his ultimate test, bringing in top-tier names like Shakur Stevenson, Raymond Ford, and Montana Love to sharpen his speed, timing, and confidence before stepping into the ring with Tank.
So that's boxing at its finest right there. You heard it. They said it. Make that bet. Everything on the line. You know, that's old school right there.
Tank's training is pure punishment, built to harden his body and mind for war. His conditioning targets his core, balance, and explosiveness, all crucial for surviving and delivering devastating shots. He's been hit by the hardest punches before, so he knows toughness isn't optional. It's everything. Every session is intense. Every drill has purpose. Tank is stacking power, stamina, and mental steel for one goal: breaking Jake Paul down on fight night.
Ain't nobody break box. Exhale. Ain't nobody break box. Been boom on that last break. I got him. We take you.
Yeah, I felt it.
Good, perfect. That was your best rep. Come on.
Jake Paul, on the other hand, is grinding just as hard. He's calling this the toughest challenge of his career, and he's training like it. Sparring with Shakur Stevenson gives him priceless rounds against one of boxing's most technical fighters. Working with Raymond Ford and Montana Love pushes his speed, defense, and reaction time to new levels. Jake knows Tank is quicker, sharper, and far more dangerous than anyone he's ever faced. That's why every day in camp is about surviving fire to build confidence for battle. Gervonta Davis built his legacy the hard way, through years of grit and sacrifice. Trainer Calvin Ford has seen it all, watching Tank evolve from a hungry kid in the gym to a superstar who shines under pressure. Ford says greatness doesn't just appear under bright lights. It's earned in empty gyms through sweat, pain, and dedication. Tank has never stopped improving, never taken a shortcut, and his rise to this moment against Jake Paul is proof of how far that discipline can take you.
Man, there's so much stuff. And me and Kenny was sitting there talking about it, and the majority of it is when he was little. We talk about all the stuff when he was little, and he started laughing like, dang.
When I get by myself, I always try to like think about like back in the day stuff.
Yeah. But we can tell.
I just noticed that just now, me talking about it. But when I get by myself, I be trying.
No, we can tell. Yeah, when I listen to your interview, I like listening to your interviews that you do, and I can tell when you reflect back on certain things. You can see it. That's when I think you at your peace, and you start reflecting back, and you talking about.
When he says something that we told him a long time ago,
we like, damn, he did remember that.
Yeah, he remember that shit.
Yeah. I see Brody been calling you a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, as far as on the what you call it, trying to fight.
Veteran trainer Abel Sanchez sees this fight as a massive opportunity for Davis. He says most boxers give their whole lives to the sport, their youth, their health, and still struggle financially. But this one is different. This fight pays back years of sacrifice. It's not for a belt, but it could change Davis's future forever. Sanchez believes Tank deserves that moment, a fight that rewards everything he's given to boxing. And this time, the reward isn't just glory, it's legacy and security.
I don't like the fight, but as a coach, I think it's a good move for Tank Davis. I mean, I've seen too many kids go out of this sport with not a cent in their pocket. And I think that if Tank Davis takes advantage of a big payday like that, I think it's a ridiculous fight as far as a fight fan. But as a coach, I understand it. You have to take care of your own.
Yeah, you know, well, actually, now that we're talking about it, you're not the biggest fan of it. Fight fans are bringing up like, hey, you know, why did he go this way when there's Lamont Roach? Like, look how close that fight was. There was a draw. We were expecting a rematch in that fight.
Yeah, well,
What's happening here?
As much as we hate it, it hasn't become really a sport. It's become a financial sport. So he took it because it's 5-6 times more than he's going to make with Lamont Roach. That makes sense. I mean, ask anybody if they have a choice, they're going to take the money. Of course. He's got to take care of his people. He's got to take care of himself. He's got to take care of his future. That's the smartest thing to do. As a fight fan, I don't like it. But as a coach, I understand it.
Yeah, no, and I think anybody in that position, like, we got to, like, put ourselves maybe sometimes in that same situation. And I think
Absolutely.
Anybody with, like, any, like, sense of, like, common sense would look at that and be like, wait, I'm making this much to fight against this guy that's only been fighting for 5 years compared to what could be maybe a really hard fight, and I'm going to make double, triple. Yeah, I'm going to go, let me do this little side quest real quick, and let me get this money real fast. And then,
of course, you have to take care of your future, man. If it's offered to you, you'd be foolish not to take it, especially against a guy that is no threat to him.
oh, well, I don't know. It's 50 pounds, Abel.
Yeah, but he's no threat to him. Tank Davis fights the way he fights. Understand that Tank Davis fights, he's probably one of my favorite fighters. I think I've said that many, many a times.
Mm-hmm.
He fights in a manner where he's fought all those big guys. Look at the way he throws his punches. Look at how he ducks down like if he's fighting a real big guy. Look at the way he fought when he knocked out Garcia. Look at where he puts his head and how he throws his punches. In the street, that's who he was fighting. He was fighting bigger guys than him. He was always a smaller guy. So he knows how to fight those big guys. He knows how to duck up underneath and throw those looping shots because that's who he fought in the street. At least that's my opinion anyway. He's always been the little guy, and I'm sure that in the streets he wasn't.
Chris Algieri also credits Davis for being more than just a boxer. He's a show. In modern boxing, skill alone isn't enough. It's about star power and the ability to make people care. And Tank does exactly that. Every time he fights, fans fill arenas and stay glued to their screens because anything can happen when Tank steps in. Algieri calls him the face of boxing's new era, a fighter who blends danger with entertainment. Every punch he throws feels like a moment fans can't miss.
And the face of boxing is basically, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again, these are created products. These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
it's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say, I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over everything. You know what, bro?
But when it comes to Jake Paul, controversy always follows. Carl Froch and Paulie Malignaggi both agree the fights aren't staged, but they believe the setup often benefits Jake. He's usually the bigger, heavier man, and he tends to get rules that protect his advantages. They expect something similar here. Still, they admit Tank's skill set can rewrite any script. If the fight becomes about pure boxing, Davis dominates. No weight or rule can hide that kind of talent.
Realize, an exhibition, you could stage it and they couldn't take bets on it. So this is an exhibition. There is no betting on it. So that means, I'm not saying people are going crazy with the opinions, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You don't know what size gloves they're going to wear. You don't even know if they're going to stage the whole thing, because this is something that as an exhibition, it's not illegal to stage it. So I think this could be all kinds of crazy, wacky stuff. This is a bit of a circus, in my opinion.
Who would you think should win that fight? Would you think that Davis should be able to get in there, even though the size did 100 pounds? Do you think he should be able to do it?
If they don't stage it and don't kind of set up a sort of a mild sparring session, I'd say Davis has a chance. Depends on the size of the gloves. Because here's the thing, Jake is probably 100 pounds bigger than the guy. That's a lot of weight, Carl. You've been in a boxing ring, that still counts. And if you make the gloves small, Gervonta could technically hurt Jake even if he hits him. But the problem is, the gloves are small. Jake could also hurt Gervonta because Gervonta's so small. Gervonta's so much smaller than him. So do you make the gloves big, and then really who's got an advantage? I don't know. Technically Gervonta's a lot better boxer, but he's so much smaller. I've stood next to Jake. Jake's a big guy. It's like I said, it's a bit of a circus freak show, and that's why I don't put it out of the question that this exhibition could be a bit staged in the ring.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's a fair point, that is. And actually,
people aren't talking about that enough. I feel like people aren't talking about that enough.
Well, he's threatening to sue everybody who talks about it, and anyone who talks about it.
Well, that's because his fights have been sanctioned, and I personally don't think he has set up the other fights. I personally think, like Mike Tyson, he had no legs left. You know what I mean? I to tell you the truth, I thought that was an easy one to bet and call. It was that Jake would beat Mike Tyson, and even some of these other fights, they're smaller. Jake doesn't set up his fights. I think what he does is he stacks the deck against his opponents in those fights. So I wouldn't call them staged, but they're deck stackers. So he has an advantage. In this situation, though,
Shakur Stevenson looks at this matchup with a strategist's eye. He acknowledges Jake's size is real, but size doesn't win fights, skill does. Tank has faced champions, outsmarted specialists, and never flinched under pressure. Stevenson predicts Davis won't rush for the knockout. Instead, he'll fight smart, use his speed, and control every inch of the ring. Winning on points seems likely, but Stevenson believes one thing for sure. Tank's ring IQ will make all the difference when the lights come on.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even, and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is, he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just gonna knock that guy out. So I see him outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out, although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision?
No, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no, nah, that ain't really I mean, like I said, here's the thing, I got two sides of me when it comes down to I got a business side, then I got a competitor side, and from the competitive aspect, it don't